Broadcasting House, New England. It's a pleasant good morning and warm welcome to your broadcast program. Good morning, Sierra Leone. Reaching you live from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation Television Channel 13. And of course, today happens to be Friday, 22nd day of May 2026. This program, as you know, it always starts with analysis and dive back into news and current affairs happenings in the country. And we are your presenters. I'm Dennis Fizatin of you.
Frances Bernard is my name. A pleasant morning here at Broadcasting House, and welcome to Good Morning, Sierra Leone. As you heard from Dennis, it always starts today with analysis and views on issues of national concern. Well, in the program this morning, we start with our quote of the day, which is from Danish philosopher Soren Kierkegaard, and it says, "Life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced."
Certainly, that's always a food for thought, but that's one thing I will keep on upon today, because people think life itself is problematic, and so people keep solving problems when they are alive instead of experiencing or living the realities of life.
Definitely. So in the program this morning, University of Sierra Leone speaks on the findings of the Anti-Corruption Commission's investigations into administrative, financial and procurement activities between 2021 and 2023.
For the college, of course, I should say, to host activities to mark its bicentenary celebrations.
And we will find out in this program today more about the National Association of Pharmaceutical Students, Sierra Leone. These stories, including your messages, comments and views, which you can send to the number on your screen. The number is 030-073-719. Or you go to our Facebook page, slbc.sl. And you can also find us on all other social media handles with that same address. This is Good Morning, Sierra Leone.
Welcome back to the program. The program you're watching is Good Morning, Sierra Leone, reaching you live on the SLBC. It's now time to usher in our guest and begin the conversation with us. For that, of course, as you must have been following the news. Decisions, financial management and procurement processes during the period under investigation. But during our Monday edition of the program, we hosted the PRO of the Anti-Corruption Commission, Alex Eba, who gave details of the findings of the investigation and also recommendations. Also, the team spoke to James Tampadeli from the University of Sierra Leone, who was there in the capacity as a journalist, who made several revelations about the root cause of the matter. But this morning we've been joined in the studio by no less a person than the Director of Communications and External Relations, University of Sierra Leone, Dr. Tony Musa. Good morning, Dr. Musa. It's a pleasure always to have you in the program.
Good morning and thanks for having me.
All right, of course, you add the marathon into we've read, and a lot of, as of now, a lot of clarifications been made by the university. In fact, you stated that there are factual inaccuracies insofar as that particular report was concerned, coupled with other issues. Why so the issue?
Well, I would like to make it clear here that the management of the University of Sierra Leone is not confrontational to the ACC, and there is no adversarial relationship between ACC and the management of University of Sierra Leone. However, referring to the reports you have just mentioned, there are issues of clarification. And based on that, the university management came out with a position paper detailing the issues of concern. Have it in mind that ACC requested, for our investigation reports, and then the investigation was not targeting individuals as you have listed the names here. It was a systemic review. We needed to holistically investigate our system as a result of the as a result of the administrative quagmire that we had at that time. For example, we have issues about governance, the business center, research grants, financial reporting, systemic reform, and then the issue of fairness. And we are looking at them, not looking at people, but looking at the issues within the institution. So to say the report has come out and then it is mentioning people specifically and people claiming that they have been exonerated, that needs clarification. Now let's start with the governance issue. The governance issue, ACC emphasized, or their report emphasized on external interference. We are not talking about the external interference. Those mentioned about external interference can easily explain themselves. We are looking at internal weakness. Okay? The internal weaknesses within the governance system, for example, let's take the appointment of the pro-vice chancellor, which needed an appointment letter, and that was not provided. So an argument about that is not corruption, it's about administrative irregularity or lapses. And so to us, ACC cannot exonerate somebody for that. Okay, it is within the remit of our own administrative policy, rules and regulations governing the university.
Well, that can be taken as ineptitude in a way.
Pardon me?
That can be as well taken as ineptitude in a way.
In the management system. Exactly. So this is why we are talking about system review. We are not actually pointing fingers at people. We are not directly investigating people at this stage. We are reviewing the system to ensure that we reform the system. So moving from that is just one example in terms of the documentation under governance. It even extends to the issue of you and I are aware of the fact about dominion, degrees. There was a time in the university they asked every academic staff to submit his or her credentials to be verified. Whilst we are responding to the Dominion Crusade. That was done. But as a university, we are aware of some of our colleagues who were, demoted from doctoral rank to, non-doctoral. Some were even, terminated. But the university is yet to have comprehensive reports coming from the registry, informing everybody about actually what was the decision or revelation about credentials that were verified. So to us, even when you take that into governance, within our system actually has to look at certain things. Then we also go further with the same governance issue relating to general records about people, about activities, about decisions that the report states that they are in Ghana must go back. So to us, that is a matter of concern. Now let's come to the business center. The ACC reports made it clear that the legal framework of the business center makes it autonomous, and as such, the vice chancellor has no direct control over the business center. Again, two things come up. Okay, one, was it deliberate to create that structure within the university that is a public entity with the hope that it could be used as an escape route of accountability? B, if that is not the case, then ACC told us that you can easily restructure it. And then when you restructure it, it will give room, for direct supervision or oversight. A suggestion that we are not adverse to. And therefore, we are even thinking about moving, because the shares or shareholders are within the university structure. And then the business center chair of the board is the vice chancellor. So in this case, he can easily relinquish the title of vice chancellor and come as board chairman, and then still institute auditing.
Even the Pope Abbott, that's the former vice chancellor and principal of the USL, had something to answer to.
To what?
Well, in so far as the report was confirmed, even as much as they cleared his name, but back then they said he had something to answer to in terms of administrative lapses.
That is what I'm saying. So I'm just listing our concern in the report we have said. Now, so with the business center situation, we are not adverse to the suggestion of ACC.
Okay.
All right, like I've said, we are going to see that we restructure. Whilst doing that, also people in the offices who are supposed to be board members can come to their board meeting, not sitting as vice chancellor, deputy vice chancellor, but as board members of the business center, so that they can institute, certain things. The next one was research grants. The ACC report says that commerce is the fine model among the 3 campuses, and therefore, in fact, the research policy available by commerce was funded by donors to ensure that commerce continue to attract and get grants. And therefore, commerce has also gone ahead to utilize the research grant by building amphitheater and other things to them. Again, coming to us is institutional procedure. The institutional procedure provide instruments that can permit you to use funds, and this should be documented in the office of the vice chancellor.
Okay, Dr. Tonya Musa, before continuing with this particular explanation, let's go to the research grants that you are talking about. We had Alex Barr from the ACC in the studio the other day, and he said some of the funds provided for the university were sent to private institutions instead of the universities getting access to that fund. Is that true?
Okay, that could be investigated by them. I'm talking about the management of the
we
grant.
are just asking, are you aware that there were funds for the university for research, for other studies, but that were directed to other private institutions?
That should have come from this general investigation, research report, that in fact, there are so many questions about the management of research grants. And one of the things we are now talking about that I was mentioning here is authority to use funds. By virtue of the Universities Act, the Vice Chancellor is the vote controller. And there is threshold that can be authorized for campuses and even the university to use, and who should authorize. In the case of all the things that have been commended by ACC for commerce, the Vice Chancellor's office has no record about those funds as they were used, procurement activities, and the award of contracts and the like. So to us, internally, you understand, it's a breach of our own instrument that says if you have to use this threshold of amount, it should be authorized. And that authorization should be documented. So as we speak now, we were expecting ACC, for example, to look out for those documents that gave authority to the utilization of those funds.
Dr. Sonia Musa, let's just make this clear, that the ACC said they only investigated your own report, the report that the committee, according to them, in fact, that the setting up of that committee was illegal in the first place, because the committee was not supposed to be set up, because there was already an audited report from Audit Sierra Leone, and you went ahead to set up a committee to investigate people who were actually not to be investigated, and now it is that report that they said they are also doing a separate investigation. It is possible that all what you are talking now is in that investigation. They said they are not going to disclose it to the public, but they are doing another investigation about the University of Sierra.
So to pause before I respond, read this letter, the letter from Audit Service, and then the first paragraph, then I can continue.
So Dr. Sajam,
you can. No, I cannot read. You read. I will you are the presenter. You have asked questions.
So,
read the heading, then I will respond.
So, Dr. Tonya Musa, you have to answer our question.
Yes, based on this.
So
this
we are
is the
saying,
question I'm answering.
is it not your report that is being investigated?
This is what I'm saying. Read this part and the date, then I can come in.
So let's talk about the report that is being investigated.
Is the report being investigated? You have referred to that. ACC said the matters that were investigated had already been addressed. So to answer that question, read this aspect, then I come. It's a premise.
So this is your document. Maybe
yes, you read it.
No, you have to go through it, Dr. Tonya Musa.
Okay.
You just go through it.
Now this letter here is dated 11th October 2024. The issue under investigation was 2021 to 2023, saying that issue had been addressed before the investigation. Now, Audit Service Sierra Leone wrote this letter to the Accountant General. The heading of the letter is withholding of salary and allowances of Professor A.R. Levy for non-submission of financial statement for the years ended 31st December 2022 to 2023. If that matter under investigation had been put to rest, why are you writing this letter to punish somebody who was not even in the office as of that time, but because of the responsibility of somebody to be in that office, and that has not been met? So to us,
what was your response by receiving this letter?
By receiving this letter was to also to reply first of all that the individual who is in the office at the moment, whose salary should be withheld, was not in office then. And then the institution has actually put together now the required audit report to be submitted. So we have just done that few months ago. Meaning, if this was put to rest, I'm just saying, if this was put to rest, why are you going to submit such a letter? Let me go forward. So now, yes. So you are talking about the things that ACC said they have already been investigated. This is just one, saying that there was still question to be raised about the things being investigated. All right, and then to them, the delay of submission of that report is no corruption. Indeed, University of Sierra Leone was not just looking at corruption. We were looking at administrative irregularities, procurement, financial management. The implication or outcome may suggest corruption, but our investigation went beyond the scope of corruption. So ACC saying that this and this are not corrupt does not necessarily mean there is no question or there is no point of accountability. That is what we are saying. Beyond that also, we also look at the financial reporting, like we have just seen here, that is by the Universities Act. There are periodic time you are supposed to provide financial reports. If that is not corruption, but then you have not met it, it's a breach of that act. So therefore, coming to our own internal system, we are saying that most of the things here ACC suggested for reform or review, we agree. But there are certain things here we disagree on certain terms. For example, you can't say it is prudent for a constituent campus to use monies meant for university without authority from the university. If ACC says so, we cannot agree with it. It's contrary to our own procedure by our instruments.
So, Dr. Tonya Musa, you said you are not in any way challenging what the AC is saying. You just want to make some clarifications. So, let's talk about reviews as the ACC reports. The recommendations in their reports, they are saying that the University of Sierra Leone need a review. Do you want to agree with that?
Indeed, in fact, this is where we commend them. Because our systemic failure requires reform. And we can do that by reviewing. We are not adverse to that. Now look at this situation. The report is talking about $126,000 used to procure a vehicle. Now leave the procurement process. Come to priority. We have staff or members of staff who have worked. They require payment of ex gratia benefits. And at the time this administration, the former administration, left, this new administration, they inherited 16 billion leons of outstanding payment of ex gratia. So members of staff who have worked diligently over the years have died without receiving their ex gratia. Their relatives have also died while waiting. So if it comes to priority, we think that when there is already a vehicle and there was a vehicle that was in use and it is still in use, and then you may leave that particular, payment of ex gratia, and then you decide to use another $126,000 to just get a Jeep at the expense of the life, health, well-being of colleagues who have served the university is a matter of concern.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Tonya Musa. He is from the University of Sierra Leone and he is the Director of Communications and International Relations, University of Sierra Leone. This is Good Morning Sierra Leone. If you have questions, comments and views on the issues being discussed here, please send your comments to the numbers on your screen, or you go to our Facebook page, slbc.sl. We'll definitely read them out if they are in place. Well, we'll continue with the program, and now the alumni of the Farabi College University will be organizing a float parade on the 23rd May 2026 as part of activities to mark the university's bicentenary celebrations. As the oldest higher education institution in sub-Saharan Africa, founded on the 18th February 1827, I beg your pardon, it is the first Western-style university built in sub-Saharan Africa and a university-level institution in Africa. Well, in the studios this morning, we have a member of the Bicentenary Committee for Abbey College. He is Solomon Jeremiah. Good morning, sir, and welcome to the SLBC.
Thank you for having me.
So, 200 years of educating people across the globe. You're about to celebrate, but we've not seen much. We've not really heard much about the celebration of the 200th anniversary of Farabi College, comparing to those schools, those small schools. We just had the St. Joseph Secondary School about a month. That's not your concern. About 2 weeks ago, and we had the Prince of Wales, the Freetown Secondary School for girls, and the likes. But we've not really seen. We've not really seen much from Farabi College. What's happening?
Thank you very much. First, let me establish for the records the capacity in which I'm acting. So I am Solomon Jamiru, former Student Union President for the college, and it's such an honor and privilege to speak to Farabites at home and abroad to talk about an institution that has done so much locally and internationally. And to remind all of us first that it was established on 18 February 1827, close to 200 years ago, by the Church Missionary Society as an Anglican higher institution to train teachers and ministers. And eventually this institution evolved to be conducting programs and conferring degrees and other academic awards. Farabi College has done so much. If we go down in history, it's the first university level institution in sub-Saharan Africa and the first in Africa, So, and for close to 100 years, it was affiliated with Durham in the United Kingdom. So this is an institution that has a legacy that we must be proud of. I acknowledge that schools like Prince of Wales, St. Edward's, I attended St. Edward's, the Bow School, FSSG, St. Joseph's Convent, they've done so much in their own right, and we acknowledge and celebrate that. We now want to use 200 years, such a phenomenal moment for us Farabites to celebrate a legacy of 200 years, to revamp, to reinvigorate, and to prove to the world that this institution still has its institutional relevance. So let the public watch out. Now we're having preliminary activities to the 200 years next year. Tomorrow, Saturday, I use this opportunity to speak to all Farabites. From the old Farabi College building at Kleintown at 7:30 a.m. to the National Stadium, we are having our float parade. And we're using all of these preliminary activities to draw attention, to bring focus to bear on this. And like you said, Prince of Wales will be doing theirs, FSSG, they've done theirs, Convent, and people are asking, what about Farabi College? Well, Farabi College, we are using this opportunity. And when we see Farabites, from now to the anniversary, in February next year, people will know that this is the institution that is what it sought.
So, 200 years of educating people, and you've said it means a lot to all of us, because fortunately in the studio this morning, I think we have Frabites. Dennis is one. Dr. Tonya Musa, in fact, is lecturer. In fact, in the studio, I'm very sure. Even the cameraman is a Frabite. Is a Frabite. But I think let's move away from this celebration and let's look at how serious Frabe College should be at this point in time, celebrating 200 years. You just had, I'm sure you've been listening to the whole issue of corruption or the university not living up to where it's supposed to be and all this. Are you concerned as an alumni of the University of Frabe College that yes, we need to move from where we are? Are you concerned?
We will use this moment not just to celebrate. Significantly, we'll use this moment to also have a solemn time to reflect. To reflect on our institution's past, to reflect on where we are and how do we chart a roadmap moving into a productive future. Yes, as Frabites we're concerned, whether it's Frabe College or any other institution that people hold.
Because it all started at Frabe College.
When you hold positions of trust, it is important. There has to be transparency, there has to be accountability. And like my friend has said, Dr. Tonya Musa, we're all looking forward to full-fledged investigation and that those who bear responsibility must be held to account. Indeed, Frabe College, like we have said, and again, this brings me to the point. Some people ask the question, why should I be concerned that Frabe College is celebrating 200 years? I attended Frabe College, but maybe my sense of history does not seem to inspire me to be part of the celebration. We all attended Frabe College. Maybe for someone it could be a reflection on, well, I paid for computer fees, I paid fees for computer, I never benefited from computer education. For some people, maybe my name was to be on the list for graduation. It was not there. I had to be running helter-skelter. So people have different reasons why they feel disconnected from the process. And we all do. But the important thing is, let us all be connected to the collective. And the collective is, Frabe College is an institution that continues to be relevant. And let us put aside some of those concerns that we have. And let us come on board and ensure that Frabe College reinvigorates itself and continues to replicate itself in the younger generation. And like I said, Frabe College has done so much, from medicine to law, from entertainment to finance, in every sphere of life. Engineering, you go to engineering firms locally and internationally, you will see Frabites. In public life, in private life, Frabites are doing extremely well. So I know there could be institutional failures, I know there could be systemic failures. Now it's time to do a comprehensive systems review. But also let the lecturers, let the professors, let the administrators know that they are serving and they exist because of students. So if you hold that position of trust, you make sure that every person that goes to Frabe College as a student should be able to come out and have that sense of history that yes, I attended Frabe College, and indeed there were people who considered me to be quite relevant. And this is a message to the current administration, this is a message to our lecturers, to everyone holding position of trust in Frabe College, that we owe it to our students to know that this is a university, and people who pay their fees and are enrolled in the university should be able to come out being proud that I attended the university and I was treated as a human being, I was treated as a student, and I was given the dignity that I deserve. I think this is important.
All right, Mr. Jamil, of course, I've been listening to you with very rapt attention. I'm mesmerized and blown away by your words. As an alumnus myself, talking about Frabe College, it gladdens my heart to really count on the glory days, especially on the shores of Frabe College.
Unfortunately, lecturers.
Definitely, Frabe College makes it possible for a student and a lecturer to interact, and you almost grill your lecturer on issues of national importance. That's what Frabe College can do. You know, listening to you, you really sounded more of like when you were Frabe College a student union president and when you were advocating for and on behalf of students. But let's also put away some of the pleasantries for now. I know Francis is very much interested in wanting to know the planned activities lined up for this bicentenary celebration. But just before we get there, now speaking as an advocate for and on behalf of students, where do you think we can really draw the line as an administration or as a university, for
supervising ministry?
You know, yes, even the Ministry of Education or government in particular can come on board, because this is not only about the administration, this is about Sierra Leone. Fuabe College, I describe it as an institution that has provided Western education for the whole of the sub-region. It's not just a Sierra Leone institution. This is the first Western-style university in the whole of the Sahara West Africa. So having Fuabe College celebrating its 200, I'm not here taking your place to speak on the issue of the bicentennial celebration, but I really want you to speak on the issue of where do we draw the line as to how government, how the administration, how students can come together and ensure that Fuabe College does not only live on its past glory. During the time, Sierra Leone was known to be the Athens of West Africa, but get back on its feet and then move to the glory days it used to be.
I think rather than drawing the line, I would propose let the lines be blurred.
Okay.
Let there be institutional collaboration. And I think the best analogy I could use is I am informed Arsenal emerged as the winners in the Premier League. And that is because they played as a team.
Yes,
that is because there is chemistry.
Certainly they do.
So whether it's government, it's Fuabe College, it's the students, it's the alumni, let's come together and support this. I think when we complement one another and complement our efforts, that's the best way to go. And I will tell you, for the bicentenary celebration, there are 2 layers of planning.
Okay.
The Fuabe College itself has its administration, and they are planning at that level. The alumni also, which is a product of the alumni executive headed by Dr. Kishore Shankadas, we also have our own alumni planning team. But again, bearing in mind and wearing the hat of collaboration, we said to ourselves as alumni, and the administration said to itself, the administration should come together and work with the alumni. So what we now have is we have a consensual framework. The admin and the alumni, we now have a central committee where we sit, we discuss, we put ideas together. How do we make sure that we give Fuabe College the befitting tribute it deserves?
Absolutely.
A 200 years celebration tribute. So we are working, whether it's alumni or the administration, we are working together. So it's the same message on the broader analogy. Government, Fuabe College, University of Sierra Leone, because Fuabe College is affiliated with the university. Students, alumni, all of us must come together and ensure that we put the past behind us. We have the accolades, we have the achievements, but let us look into the future with the greatest of optimism and ensure that we give Fuabe College a befitting tribute.
Okay, so let's talk about these anniversary activities lined up for this weekend. How far have you gone in reaching out to alumni? Because at the SLBC, I can recall I was called asking, what was your hall when you are at Fuabe College? And I said, Dinikul, and only for my head of newsroom to tell me that you have to prepare your money because they are coming with your t-shirt. And I said, oh, was that why you are calling me and asking me the hall I was in when I was at Fuabe College? But we've not really seen much. And tomorrow is Saturday. I'm sure tomorrow should be the day for the float parade. So how far have you gone in reaching out to people far and wide? So they'll be part of this event tomorrow.
Yeah. So we have 8 or 9 months to the main event in February next year. So we are having our preliminary activities. First, we had the interfaith service, maybe about 2 weeks or so ago. Tomorrow we're having the float parade. And so the momentum is building. And so we have many activities lined up. We're going to also have an awareness week, and that will happen in June. We'll be having Africana and cultural events. We'll be doing tours. We'll be going to the old Fuabe College building. We'll be going to a site at Mabang. So there are things lined up, and I'm sure the public and the alumni will be informed in due course. But as I said, the momentum is building. So my message is, now that I have found 2 extra Fuabites, and of course I know you, and 3 of your 5 in the room, my message is, as we can talk in Creole, tell Fuabite for make it tell another Fuabite for make it tell another Fuabite. Say this na Fuabe College at 200. Be part of the float parade tomorrow. and make sure that you become also part of the preliminary events, and up to February next year when we'll celebrate in 200 years. We're all Fulbright, like you said, and we all have a reason to be proud. This is such a phenomenal moment in history. Yes. The oldest university in sub-Saharan Africa, modeled on Western higher education and still doing extremely well. Certainly. Notwithstanding some of the dysfunctions and the institutional failures we hear about, but on the bigger scale, Frobe College still has relevance, and we must all be proud of Frobe.
Okay, on that note, I believe that message is well hammered home. Produced it was in the program is Solomon Jamiu, a member of the Bicentenary Planning Committee of Frobe College. The program is Good Morning Sierra Leone. It's now time for us to take our health tips. In today's health tips, we take a look at what you can do to keep your kidney healthy. Your kidneys are two fist-sized, bean-shaped organs located in your lower back, just below the rib cage. Their primary job is to filter your blood, remove waste and extra fluid, and balance crucial minerals to produce urine. Let's watch this short video and learn more about it.
There are several things that you can do to keep yourself and your kidneys healthy. The first and probably most important point is to keep regular medical visits with your physician. Your physician can do 2 simple tests to tell you the exact stage of your kidney function. Simple blood test can do that, and a urine test to test for blood or protein in your kidney to see if there's any damage. Secondly, you want to know why you have kidney disease in the first place. Is it from high blood pressure? Is it from diabetes, or both? And in either situation, there are things that you can do to control your blood pressure better, such as salt restriction, such as taking blood pressure medications. For diabetes, it is very important to keep your finger sticks in check. Check your finger sticks at home, write down in a logbook, and share them with your physician. There are important dietary restrictions and choices that you must make to keep a healthy diabetic diet. In addition to diet, exercise is very important for both blood pressure, diabetes, and just general health. And there's simple daily exercise routines that you can do in addition to something more strenuous like running or walking. Furthermore, if you happen to smoke, please stop. We know that smoking is probably damaging to all major organs in the body, the lungs, the heart, and of course the kidney. And also try to avoid taking too many pain medications, especially the over-the-counter medications that belong in the family called NSAIDs. NSAIDs stand for non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, and drugs in that category include ibuprofen, the brand name Motrin, Aleve, Advil. Unfortunately, those class of medications damage your kidney and raise your blood pressure. If you actually need something for pain, speak with your physician, but we generally recommend acetaminophen or Tylenol being the brand name as an alternative as long as you have normal liver. And for further information about all those strategies to help protect your kidneys, we do refer you to our website, www.kidney.org.
Alright, welcome back. The program you're watching is Good Morning Sierra Leone. Now, if you learned a lot from that short video on how to keep your kidneys healthy. Still on health, we now turn to another issue that has to do with health. And the National Association of Pharmaceutical Students, Sierra Leone, is the umbrella body representing pharmacy students across Sierra Leone, particularly students of the Faculty of Pharmaceutical Sciences, College of Medicine and Allied Health Sciences, Commerce University of Sierra Leone. It was established around 2005. The association has grown into a vibrant, impactful, and student-centered organization dedicated to advancing the interests, welfare, academic excellence, and professional development of pharmacy students nationwide, where NAPS-SL, as it's fondly called, serves as a dynamic platform for nurturing future pharmacists and healthcare leaders through leadership development and academic empowerment, public health advocacy and research, promotion of innovation, and community engagement. Well, in the studio to talk more on the activities of the National Association of Pharmaceutical Students, we've been joined by the President of the National Association of Pharmaceutical Students, or NAPS, Ibrahim Alpha Mansari. Good morning, Mr. Mansari.
Good morning, thank you for having me.
Very well. Of course, such a very productive association, as you say, based on what you do, but one might argue much is not known about you in the public. Maybe you are just around your circle. That's why you're limiting yourself on just what you do around your constituents and not getting across to the public.
Well, we can say arguably we're one of the best students association in USL, and even in the College of Medicine over the years we've won a couple of times the best student association of the year award, and even internationally because we're under our umbrella, International Pharmaceutical Students Federation. So we are not only limited locally but globally as well. We place ourselves on that pedestal. So and like you mentioned, we have our social media pages. If you can go through them, you will definitely see that most of our activities are out there. So we're not only limited to our school community, but we've been to the public. Alright,
so Mr. Mansari, one reason why I started to that question, because of recent, it's almost becoming the new normal to see the proliferation of some people who call them the fake doctors. Peddlers going across the streets of Freetown, even across the country, selling medical products to people. And we've seen our pharmacy board Sierra Leone champion that particular cause to really frown against that. But I was thinking as a student body, past and current, you could as well champion a cause like that, because you've been established since 2005, and much is expected of you in that right, don't you think?
So the fight against drug peddling actually is not an individual thing. There are so many key players into that as well. So for that, the drug peddling fight, we actually have an activity plan for when we are closed with college, actually to go into the streets of Freetown and also try as best as possible to even go to the provinces to actually enlighten people about the dangers of drug peddling. Because that's the role of us as students. We can, because there are, like I said, there are so many arms to it. You have the pharmacy board, and then also you guys as well, the media, actually playing your own parts in the fight against drug peddling. So our own part is to create awareness. So definitely we will try as best as possible to do that, and then go out to the streets and actually engage the public on the dangers of drug peddling.
So, Mr. Mansari, what's your relationship with the pharmacy board of Sierra Leone?
So the pharmacy board of Sierra Leone is actually the regulatory arm of the pharmacy industry. Yes. And so when we are finished with school, actually, our training will start with the pharmacy board, because they also regulate professionals and also products and premises. So we are one of their products. So when we are done with school, they will actually regulate us. So we start with internship and under the pharmacy board. So we have a very good relationship with the registrar and also the chief pharmacist.
How about the welfare of your members?
So the welfare of our members, we are championed with that responsibility to champion the welfare, whether the school community, that is the College of Medicine and Health Sciences, with issues that are affecting the pharmacy students at large. And we have a very good working relationship with the college administration currently. So whenever we have issues, our current dean of faculty, Dr. Michael, I have an open door policy. So whenever we have issues, we can easily go to the dean and then advocate on behalf of the students.
All right, thank you very much. Continue to stay with us. He is Ibrahim Alpha Mansari, and he is president of the National Association of Pharmaceutical Students Sierra Leone. We still have Dr. Tonya Musa with us in the studio. He is from the University of Sierra Leone. I'm smiling because if you just look at the documents, Dr. Tonya Musa is carrying.
Tonya Musa came prepared.
Which means he came very prepared for this interview. So, Doc, you were just referring to some other documents, but now let's talk about, this is not the ACC anymore, but let's talk about a former member a former director of communications of the University of Sierra Leone. Well, he came here not in that capacity, but he came here as a journalist. How about this allegation that this whole issue happened because there was a grudge from the minister, because she was working in that university, and because she left, she already had issues with people in the university. So she now used her office to cause most of the problems that we are talking about. How about that?
And he said that's the root cause of this
problem.
Okay, so if that is the submission, then that root cause is fallacious. Why? Okay. The argument about the leadership crisis in the university stemmed not as the appointment of minister, but no appointment of pro-vice chancellor on record. Had there been somebody appointed by the registry, specifically by the registrar, that you are the pro-vice chancellor, there was going to be no argument. So meaning, if that letter was not written and it does not exist, how do you correlate that to minister interfering? Okay? Yes. As an academic institution, whenever you are appointed, there is going, even as committee members, you have to have your appointment letter to the effect. Now we are talking about the highest administrative and academic position, which is the office of the vice chancellor and principal. By the act, that when the vice chancellor and principal is not there, somebody that should act should be pro-vice chancellor. By any other method or means that you arrive at having done it as pro-vice chancellor, you should be appointed for validity. And when you are not appointed, and then you understand it, to me and to any reasonable mind, it's a failure. So this is why I'm coming.
No, I just want to be clear. That's what you referring to this breach of administrative procedure as a lapses. But is it not also a slap to the face of the institution? You need professionals, and for you not to adhere to.
So this is where we talk about systemic failure that requires system review.
And when do you think this should be done?
Now it is, some of them are already in progress, as I said. So I was just saying that if you say the antecedents to what we are saying now is as a result of minister interfering, I said is fallacious. Because the internal weakness opened the door for external intervention.
Okay.
So Dr. Musa, let's talk about what really should be done in the University of Sierra Leone for this the institution to move on, because as we speak, this is not a very good picture. This whole issue is painting to the public, and not only to the public, but to even the international world. I can recall we had the presidential spokesperson here the other day when we had the ACC and another journalist in the studio. He said that this is not good for the university. Let's talk about ways moving forward and how the university is prepared to accept change, because the other institutions could be suggesting change or review, but if the university is not ready, then they are just wasting their time.
This is why the management accepts the review recommendations from even the ACC, and also beyond the ACC, we are aware of the lapses, systemic, both structure, processes, and we are trying to put additional instruments together to ensure that we address some of these concerns.
But are you saying that with an open mind?
Holistically. I mean, the university is not owned by individual. You are only there for a period. And then you leave the university, not as history, but legacy. So we believe that coming to the university, you have to be public-centric more than being individual-focused. So this was why the ACC report, we said, listen, we did not submit names to you to be investigated. We submitted reports on systemic investigation done.
Have you engaged the ACC? Have you engaged the ACC?
In terms of what they did, they sent to us administrative letter. We have done our reply administratively. We are only coming to public because people were on air, people were on newspapers, moving helter-skelter. framing, that they have been exonerated, and then this is what ACC said. So we needed to explain to public also that this matter is under investigation, is even in court, and we don't want to prejudice court proceedings. And at the same time, we are not in any adversarial relationship with ACC. Okay. Again, we are not confrontational to the report itself, but there are things that we need to clarify.
So for the University of Sierra Leone, the reports from the ACC, especially exonerating those people whose names are mentioned in that report, is not accepted by the university.
No, holistically, because there are so many things I've just told you about. Let me just re-emphasize this.
Doctor.
Using university's fund, you have to be authorized. As I sit here, the Vice Chancellor's office has no document of authorization for the money spent, for example, from the research grants. So if that is the case, ACC is saying that is the best model. We have the right to challenge that model. That it might even become problematic as we move forward when Francis may use or expend university's money without the proper authorization as provided by the Universities Act 2021.
All right. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for being here in the program. But just before letting you go, like Francis said, the approach you are using in addressing this particular issue, one might not want maybe the public to misunderstand it as if you are which owned in the previous administration. So, I mean, what other approach will you also use?
So maybe we are talking about models, because Dr. Tonya is always lecturing models. So let's talk about
interestingly enough, the first model was not investigation of persons or people, but the system.
Okay.
Moving forward, revelation from that system verification can point at people for accountability.
Okay.
So now, what are the strategies that you'll be using to make sure that you implement these models that you are talking about?
Our administration is prudent, that is one, and also consultative, that is two. And then, like you heard from the alumni, here with us, he said, let every hands, come together and see what is good for the university, especially going 200 years.
All right.
You understand? We are only having broader conversation here. If you go to ACC also, the commissioner is a product of this university.
Certainly.
And I'm sure even senior officers, apart from the commissioner. And then we are all working on common vision.
Oh, right.
You understand? So it's all about USL and more about Sierra Leone.
Dr. Tonya Musa, Director of Communications and International Relations at the University of Sierra Leone, for providing us insights and, of course, clearing the air, making all of those clarifications you've made this morning. The program is Good Morning, Sierra Leone. Quickly over to another segment. Review of the front pages of our local tablet for that. I'll begin with you, Francis.
Yes, this morning for the review of the newspapers, we start with the Pyramid newspaper. Pyramid, only 10% no SGB policies. Awareness crisis in SL universities. Elderly man in custody for marrying underage girl. These stories plus more you find.
From the Pyramid newspaper, Vice President launches critical mineral strategy 6 greater value for mining sector. That is directly quoting the headlines from the Calabash newspaper. SLPJ reaffirms confidence in port security as probe finds no cocaine on MV Aronian. Our stories plus more you can find on the first page of Calabash newspaper.
From the Calabash, we go to the Independent Observer. Independent Observer, how Sierra Leone can unlock jobs and growth. Government maps out Lungeke to a city. These stories plus more in the Independent Observer.
From the Independent newspaper, Observer newspaper, my final pick is Standard Times. Few headlines to go. The paradox of visual cluster, shrinking democratic space and the rights to campaign. Safety and security prevail across southern region. NATCA hosts Consumer Parliament 2026 in Kenema City.
Okay, our final paper for today is the African 24 newspaper. Africa 24, political hypertension in the SLPP with a question mark. and new election results under microscope. These stories plus more, and for those of you who are interested in details of how Arsenal won the English Premier League, you go out there and grab these newspapers. You must be reminded that views expressed in these newspapers do not in any way reflect the views of the SLBC. We are merely saying what the papers are saying. We still have Solomon Jamil with us in the studio. So let's talk about some of the things that people will be expecting tomorrow, Frabite, that will be going to the float pile.
I think one significant utility would be what I would call the milestone reunion. And I would imagine there are people who attended Fubi College in the 60s, some in the 70s, some in the 90s, some in the early 2000s, some maybe 2010, 2015, 2020. So we'll be having those milestone reunions. And one of the things, yes, at the Gen Zs, and that's one of the things we've discussed with administration, to see how we could also have it by decades. So people who've attended Fubi College at relevant decades should be able to come together. So tomorrow is a significant step. It will be a reunion. We'll also use that opportunity to call significant attention that this is 200 years, and let us use this preliminary activity and build up with subsequent activities until we get to February next year when we'll be celebrating 200 years. So tomorrow,
at what time?
So it starts at 7:30 from the old Fubi College building at Clienttown, and then we'll end at the National Stadium.
Do you want to help us with the route?
Well, I don't have the route with me, but yes, but the route will be announced in detail.
Thank you very much, Solomon Jamiru, member of the planning committee of the Centenary Celebration of Fubi College. Quickly, Mr. Ibrahim Al-Mansari, in your closing and parting short, of course, I know you'll be speaking on the affairs of constituent of your association as well. There's a big celebration of Fubi College that's 200. I know as a constituent body, you are also big time part of it. What is going to be like your contribution as well? All
we are all members of the University of Sierra Leone. So I think the part we can play is the fact that we can join in the celebration. 200 years is such a great milestone anyways.
And I know Mr. Jamil is also extending an invitation to you.
So definitely, we'll show up for the celebration.
Oh, right. On that note,
the only issue I have with the celebration is the fact that you guys did not make t-shirts for Lati Hall. The newest hall.
The Gen Z hall. No problem. That is something that's going to be looked into. But thank you very much for asking guests, all of you, for being part of the program. Dr. Tunia Musa from USS, Solomon Jamiru, member of the planning committee of the bicentenary celebration for Fubi College, and of course to you, Ibrahim Al-Mansari from Commerce Pharmaceuticals Department. That's where we do the cuttings into this edition of the program. Good morning, Sierra Leone. Many thanks for being part of it. I'm Dennis Fisher saying goodbye.
My name is Frances Bernard. A quick reminder of our quote of the day, which is from Danish philosopher Soren Kierkegaard, and it says, "Life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced." Do have a lovely and wonderful day, and do enjoy your weekend. Goodbye.
I run a small logistics company. Every cent counts. I didn't think I needed a fuel card until I got the Cornex fuel card. Now, I track exactly how much fuel my fleet uses, in real time. And when my wife or kids need fuel, no cash, no stress. It's safe, accepted nationwide, and I control how much goes on each card. At the end of the month, I see the savings, real savings. Cornex fuel card. I didn't know I needed it. Now, I can't run my business or family without it. Fuel smart. Live smart. Visit any Cornex filling station to sign off, or any Cornex office to get your card. Across Saloni, more people are asking the same question. Why buy fuel anywhere else when Cornex gives you more? Professionally trained attendants who know service matters. Honest fuel. A litre is a litre every single time. And when it's time to pay, easy. Pay with mobile money. Visa or MasterCard or the Cornex fuel card. Clean restrooms, welcoming spaces. Every station, every time. Clean fuel, clean spaces, clear value. That's why Sierra Leone fuels with Cornex. Cornex retail outlets. Always clean, always professional, always for you. Fuel smart, live smart. Get your Cornex fuel card today.
As a mother of the house, whenever I want to prepare palm soup, there's no need pounding palm fruit. All I need is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. My soup is done, and its preparation, it is not difficult at all. Nkulenu palm